Hello everyone. So the rules for Axis and Allies Stalingrad have been published on the Renegade website, and you can easily access them through BoardGameGeek as well if you go to the page, BoardGameGeek page of Axis and Allies Stalingrad, and you go to the post called details. You will see a link there to them as well. Maybe even a separate file has been posted by now. Anyway, the purpose of this video is to go over part of the rules, some thoughts, here and there a couple of questions, some remarks. Yeah, obviously I don't have the game itself yet, but I was very intrigued to read them, and this post is just to share my thoughts with you. I will do it in several videos because otherwise this would be a very long one. And I don't think that's the best way to go. Anyway, the rules start with some strategy advice from the designers. And there's just a couple of things that stood out there to me. Not so much for the strategy advice, obviously, itself, because I don't have the game yet. I haven't played it, so I'll believe them. But yeah, there's a couple of other things I noticed. For instance, that you can buy new air units in this game. They do become available as reinforcements in some cases, but you can't buy them. Just like in Axis and Allies North Africa, there is supply in this game, but it works somewhat differently. You have some supply tokens and supply lines, and when a unit is out of supply, it suffers a -1 penalty to attack and defense. And they go on to say that that doesn't sound too bad, perhaps, but in large engagements, it could make quite a big of a difference. Something else: bombers can fly air transport during bad weather turns. It says. Well, I suppose even during bad weather turns. I suppose it's also possible during regular ones. And there are two scenarios, just like in North Africa. You have the entire campaign game, which is called Race to Stalingrad, which is 13 rounds, just like 13 turns, just like North Africa as well. And you have the Operation Uranus scenario, which starts, I believe, on turn 7 or so, so that's a shorter one. And there are a couple of tips for the allies as well. And it says it's a good idea to attack the enemy at the city gates whenever you can, because every infantry you destroy outside the city, every German infantry you destroy outside the city is like destroying two, because you actually get to, when the German infantry moves from the regional board to the city board, you actually get to place a second infantry for free, because, well, they were simply tougher. And the Russians don't get to do that, by the way, and neither do the minor Axis forces. But neither do the Russians, and the rulebook does say something about it, that is basically because those units were already severely depleted and everything poorly supplied, so not incredibly effective. And the German units, yeah, it's got to do with scale and everything, that the units on the regional board are much larger, and that's why you actually get to place another German unit there for free when they move onto the city board like that. Yeah, so that's a bit about the strategy advice. Well, we'll go on a bit longer. Let's do a few more pages. Yeah, this game actually, according to the designer notes, and that's the impression I get as well after reading them, it uses some elements from the D-Day expansion. Don't let that fool you, though. Well, it's not an expansion, obviously, the D-Day version of Axis and Allies. Well, it does borrow a couple of things from them. For instance, one round of combat, you don't actually continue until one side has been eliminated. You also have order cards, contested zones, stacking limits, artillery is air defense, so all those elements come from D-Day. Don't let that fool you, though. This game is much more complicated than D-Day was, which I personally believe it's a good thing. D-Day was a little bit light to my tastes, but yeah, I do have some friends who would not agree with that, and they prefer the lighter versions of Axis and Allies, but it actually sounds good to me. So it also uses, as I said, supply lines. Well, there are some supply tokens as well, but you don't need them to attack. So that's from North Africa, and yeah, so this game seems to be a blend of course, several things that we know from practically all Axis and Allies games, but other than that, a blend of North Africa and D-Day with perhaps a touch of 1914 here and there. What else do we have? A table of contents, obviously, and also yeah, something that I've actually been wishing for a long time for a Stalingrad game to do. Very often it focuses either on the city itself or Case Blue, and rarely have I seen a game, if at all. But that might be me. I mean, there might be such a game out there, definitely, but I just don't know it yet. But this one actually combines the best of both worlds. That's what it looks like, and something I've been longing to see for a long time. So you have a region board over here and a city board, and movement between the two is possible. Also back, a battle board. Good to see it back again. I missed it a little bit in North Africa. After you, admittedly, after you play that game a couple of times, you don't need it as much anymore. But I don't know, it's just handy and nice to have a battle board, and it seems to look pretty good. Well, let's do one more page, and then I'll call it a day for this video, and I'll continue with another one. So you have a number of cards here, as we saw before, some order cards, which are quite similar to the ones that we found in D-Day. 14 Operation Uranus cards, which are actually some reinforcement cards of Soviet units that you get to secretly place beneath the board. Not the units, of course, but the cards. And then when they become available, you can actually choose anywhere from turn 3 onwards. You can deploy them in certain areas, or you can do so until turn 7. That's the latest turn, and then you have to launch Operation Uranus. And the longer you wait, the better it is, in the sense that, or the better it seems to be, in the sense that you have more areas where you can place those units. So I guess it means, and again, I haven't played the game, but I'm thinking that it could be more of a surprise if you launch it early, but a large encirclement will probably be more difficult as well, because you have to place relatively few units in few available spaces to do so. So I guess, again, this is pure speculation, but I guess that would only be something you'd do if the Germans have been very careless and yeah, really haven't protected their flanks well, even that early on in the game. And there are also 5 optional rules cards, with rules such as interceptors and stuff like that. Also, back again, well, they're called reinforcement point certificates, but we have the paper money back in the game, or so it seems. And yeah, I mean, they could have chosen, I don't know, poker chips or something similar, but yeah, hey, money works is fine, and it's better than just calculating it yourself. So I'm very happy those are back. And finally, we also have some Axis minor units, which represent the Romanians, Italians, and Hungarians mostly. There are not that many of them, and just infantry and artillery, but still a nice touch, and I'm very happy about it. So this concludes the first installment of the Axis and Allies Stalingrad rules overview, and I'll be back with part 2 probably in a couple of days. So thank you for watching, and see you after the next one.